Dear friends, this is episode number 67 of the Limitation Act. In the last episode, I was referring to the decision of the Supreme Court in 2019 8 SCC 729 AER 2019 Supreme Court 3827 Ravinder Kaur Grewal and others versus Manjit Kaur and others. Now I will read a small portion from paragraph 46 and 48. Suit can be filed by plaintiff on the basis of title acquired by adverse possession or on the basis of possession under Article 64 and 65. There is no bar under Article 65 or any of the provisions of the Limitation Act 1963 as against a plaintiff who has perfected his title by virtue of adverse possession to sue to evict a person or to protect his possession, and plethora of decisions are to the effect that by virtue of extinguishment of title of the owner, the person in possession acquires absolute title, and if actual owner dispossesses another person after extinguishment of title, he can be evicted by such person by filing a suit under Article 65. And paragraph 53, right to recover possession based on title is absolute, irrespective of limitation in the absence of adverse possession by the defendant. What is that? There is the acquisition of title in favor of the plaintiff, though it is negative conferral of right on extinguishment of the right. The right ripened by prescription of his adverse possession is absolute, and on dispossession he can sue based on title as envisaged in the opening part of Article 65. Under Article 65, the suit can be filed based on title for recovery of possession within 12 years of the start of adverse possession. What is this meaning of this? Right to recover possession based on title is absolute, irrespective of limitation. I am the owner, you trespassed upon. You are in possession, you gain possession. You do not have the required animus possidendi. Your possession is not continuous. Sporadic acts of possession. More than 20 years. You are taking usufructs. That will not become adverse possession. My right will not be extinguished. Limitation will not be a bar. It is for you to prescribe title by adverse possession. You have to plead, you have to prove under Article 65 of the 1963 Act. Then paragraph 55, one sentence, two sentences. Section 27 of the Limitation Act provides for extinguishment of right on the lapse of limitation, etc., etc. The concept of adverse possession as developed goes beyond it on completion of the period, and extinguishment of right confers the same right on the possessor which has been extinguished, and not more than that. I will read once again. The concept of adverse possession as evolved goes beyond it on completion of the period, and extinguishment of right confers the same right on the possessor which has been extinguished. Then paragraph 54, expression title occurring in Article 65 would include title acquired by the plaintiff by way of adverse possession. In Article 65, the opening part, a suit for possession, quote, for possession of immovable property or an interest therein based on title, unquote, has been used. The expression title would include the title acquired by the plaintiff by way of adverse possession also. The title is perfected by adverse possession has been held in a catena of decisions, etc., etc. So, Gurudwara Sahib's case was overruled, and another decision of the Supreme Court which followed Gurudwara Sahib's case, that was also overruled. That decision citation is, you will get it, 2001 5 SEC, AER 2001 Supreme Court. No, that is not the judgment. That is not the judgment, sorry. That decision I have not noted here, but it is there in Grewal's judgment, that decision is there. Next, 2001 5 SEC, 2001 5 SEC, 375. Same as AER 2001 Supreme Court 1740. Once a suit for recovery of possession is instituted against a defendant in adverse possession, his adverse possession does not continue thereafter. In other words, the running of time for acquiring title by adverse possession gets arrested. See, I the real owner, I am the real owner, you are the trespasser. You started possessing adversely with all the incidents of adverse possession, with all the characteristics of adverse possession. You continued for 10 years. You have not perfected title by adverse possession because 12 years have not elapsed. I file a suit against you for recovery of possession. It is maintainable because I am the title holder. You are only a trespasser. I have got 12 years time from the date on which you prescribe title by adverse possession, start adverse possession. I file a suit. By the mere filing of the suit, your running of time is arrested. Otherwise, what will happen? After 10 years or even after 5 years, I file a suit. You can drag on the suit, appeal, second appeal, Supreme Court, another 15 years. By that time, you can say, yes. I have perfected title by adverse possession, 12 years over. No. Once the suit is filed, the time gets arrested. Time gets arrested. Otherwise, it can be on the basis of the volition, on the basis of manipulation by the defendant, by the trespasser. He can hoodwink the plaintiff by delaying tactics. Suppose you have trespassed upon my property today, tomorrow I file a suit. No delay, nothing. Still, you can drag on the suit, appeal, second appeal, Supreme Court for 12 years. It is not impossible. Then can you claim adverse possession? No, because you are not perfected. By my filing the suit, your running of time is arrested. You will not get anywhere in the Limitation Act, that principle. Because nobody doubts it. Still, if somebody asks you, can you answer? Answer is this. 2001 5 SEC 375. Once a suit for recovery of possession is instituted against a defendant in adverse possession, his adverse possession does not continue thereafter. In other words, the running of time for acquiring title by adverse possession gets arrested. So many decisions are referred to there. Sultan Jahan Begum, 73 Madhya Pradesh, 69 Allahabad. The legal position that emerges out of the decision extracted above is that once a suit for recovery of possession against the defendant who is in adverse possession is filed, the period of limitation for perfecting title by adverse possession comes to a grinding halt. We are in respectful agreement with the statement of law in Allahabad, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Yes. Next is 2006 7 SEC 570. 570. Name of the case T. Anjanappa and others versus Somalingappa and another. Somalingappa and another. Paragraph 22. It is well recognized proposition in law that mere possession, however long, does not necessarily mean that it is adverse to the true owner. Adverse possession really means the hostile possession, which is expressly or impliedly in denial of title of the true owner, and in order to constitute adverse possession, the possession proved must be adequate in continuity, in publicity and extent, so as to show that it is adverse to the true owner. The classical requirement of adverse possession of title, acquisition of title by adverse possession, are that such possession in denial of the true owner's title must be peaceful, open and continuous. The possession must be open and hostile enough to be capable of being known to the parties interested in the property, though it is not necessary that there should be evidence of the adverse possessor actually informing the real owner of the former's hostile action. You are having a hostile animus to possess my property against, say, disclosing to the whole world. You are not hiding anything. It is not a secret animus. It is open, continuous, notorious, without any attempt at concealment, without any interruption. Then you need not state to me, the real owner, yes, I have started possessing adversely to you. I must know it. Suppose it is concealed from me, I am not bound, and any number of years that will not constitute. Suppose it is concealed, not concealed from me, concealed from the whole world, then it is not open. So each ingredient of adverse possession becomes relevant. The classical requirements. Then another point held, the High Court has erred in holding that even if the defendants claim adverse possession, they do not have to prove who is the true owner, and even if they have believed that the government was the true owner and not the plaintiffs, the same was inconsequential. There was a divergence of opinion. Even Kerala High Court has held in one decision by Justice Padmanabhan that even if the person who is a title holder is not known to the trespasser, He can prescribe title by adverse possession. In view of the Supreme Court, that view may not be correct. Obviously, the requirements of proving adverse possession have not been established. If the defendants are not sure who is the true owner, the question of their being in hostile possession and the question of denying title of the true owner do not arise. This is the view. See the difference in views. One situation. I am the trespasser. I trespassed upon a property. I do not know who is the owner. It may be X, it may be Y, it may be Z. Then I claim after 12 years that I have perfected. It was open, continuous, notorious, without any interruption. But it is not my duty to bring it to the notice of the real owner. I brought it to the notice of the whole world. Anybody can see. That includes the real owner. But I do not know who is the real owner. That is one thing. Secondly, I know who is the real owner. I start possession adversely. I need not specifically mention to that real owner that I am starting possession adversely. But I am not concealing. It is not a secret animus. It is open to the whole world. People know that I am asserting my own right as a trespasser. Then though it is not specifically put to the knowledge of the real owner, my adverse possession is not affected. Next is some of the AER 1975 Kerala 182. AER 1975 Kerala 182. Kavunni Chakyar. Kavunni Chakyar. CHAKKIAR versus Govinda Gurukal and another. That was alienation of property by some of the co-sharers. Whether the title of those persons who did not join the document, whether lost by adverse possession. The title of the plaintiff to claim his share, that is, the plaintiff did not join the other co-sharers in the matter of transfer, is not lost by adverse possession. So that suppose there is a co-ownership property. I am a sharer. I am working abroad. There are 4 other brothers and sisters. They are managing the property. They are in the native place in India. They sell the property to X as if the property belonged to you all 4. I do not know about the assignment. I am not here at all. I thought that you are continuing in possession. These 4 brothers and sisters, they make it appear that it is their property is intact in their possession. Then 12 years over, would my right be affected? No, not at all. My right to claim partition is not lost. But period of limitation will start running for purpose of adverse possession, for the purpose of section 27 also. By a transferee, in favor of a transferee from co-sharers, once that transfer is known to the co-sharer who has not joined in the transaction. That also there are decisions. In this Kerala decision, Kavunni Chakyar, Lakshmi Reddy versus Lakshmi Reddy was followed. AER 1957 Supreme Court 314. Lakshmi Reddy's case was followed in very many cases. but it is well settled. This is the difference. See, X and Y are strangers. Property belongs to X. Y trespasses upon. The requirements of adverse possession are satisfied. 12 years passed. Adverse possession is perfected. X and Y are co-owners. Same thing happened by the possession of one. The non-possessing co-owner, his right is not affected. Why? Because so far as co-owners are concerned, adverse possession alone is not sufficient. Ouster to his knowledge is required. His right must be denied, and his right, he must be ousted from the property. Denial of right is enough to his knowledge. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose there are the property belonged to a common ancestor X. He died. He is survived by his widow and 9 children. Total 10 sharers. Some are working abroad, some are working in different places in India. One person is in possession of the whole property. Then he claims adverse possession. When we come back to the native place, we see what our brother is in possession. His possession is our possession. It is not in denial. So far as the co-owners are concerned, it is not sufficient to prove that a co-owner was in possession for required number of 12 years. He must also prove that the rights of other co-owners, their rights were denied, they were ousted. Ouster must be there. But it is well settled that in order to establish adverse possession of one co-sharer as against another, it is not enough to show that one of them is in sole possession and enjoyment of profits of the properties. Ouster of non-possessing co-heir by the other co-heir in possession who claims this possession to be adverse should be made out. This is a decision. The co-heir in possession cannot render his possession adverse to the other co-heir not in possession merely by any secret hostile animus on his own part in derogation of the other co-heir's title. Korea versus Appuhami. Korea versus Appuhami. 1912 AC appeal cases. 230. 1912. This principle never doubted. 1912. Decision. Korea versus Appuhami. That was followed in this decision which I cited. That is Lakshmi Reddy's case, which is referred to again in Kaunni Charkya's case. That possession of the other, the possession of the co-owner in possession would not be adverse because he is entitled to possess. That is a difference. I am the owner, you trespass upon. You have no right to possess. Whereas we are co-owners. You have got a right to possess, I have got a right to possess. So even if you possess and enjoy, take income, that is not in derogation of my right. Whereas in the first example, it is in derogation of my right. That is a distinction. That is why ouster is required in the case of co-sharers, co-owners. Then AIR 1957 Supreme Court 314, which I referred to earlier, P. Lakshmi Reddy versus L. Lakshmi Reddy. The receiver's possession, whether it will arrest adverse possession. A person started adverse possession, a litigation arose, a receiver is appointed, whether that will arrest, period. Doctrine of receiver's possession being that of successful party cannot be pushed to the extent of enabling a person who was initially out of possession to claim the tacking on receiver's possession to his subsequent possession. That a receiver is appointed is no ground to arrest. He cannot say that his possession cannot be pushed to the extent of enabling a person who was initially out of possession to claim the tacking on of the receiver's possession to his subsequent possession. Receiver is an officer of the court and is not a particular agent of any party. To treat such a receiver as the plaintiff's agent for the purpose of initiating adverse possession by the plaintiff would be to impute wrongdoing of the court and its officers. Yes. I think time is running out. We will see in the next episode. Thank you.